Hello and welcome, I am Shelf Unit and this is my Let's Play of Civilization 2 Multiplayer Gold. There were several versions of this game which was released in 1996 by Microprose. I personally have bought in my time at least 2 copies, although this one is technically a download. I have it patched to work on Windows 10, but without any of the movies or any of the in-game movies or things that resemble movies. So, what is Civilization 2? It is a world-building civilization simulation game. You start off with a small group of settlers and you have to build it up to become the greatest civilization on Earth by either killing everybody else or launching your spaceship. Now, this is going to be casual, and so I'm going to have it on a very low, possibly the easiest difficulty level, and it is going to be as long as it takes. It won't interfere with my other Let's Plays. At the minute I'm doing Baldur's Gate Siege of Dragonspear, although I have had major recording issues with that at the minute, so I may even switch to using this recording thing, which is Flashback Express 5. OBS is causing me all sorts of grief at the moment, but it does have the annoying yellow mouse circle around it, which I'm not sure how to get rid of, but I will do some research after I've recorded this episode. So what we're going to do, I think initially I'm going to customize the world. Now there is one patch that allows much bigger games, but I cannot get that to work, much like the Game of Thrones patch, sadly. But in normal Civilization, you're allowed to pick small, normal, or large, which is 40 by 50 squares, 50 by 80, or 75 by 120. The maximum you can go is 10,000, and so I always put that 80 up and 125 across, which is the biggest you can get and works out to be exactly 10,000 squares. I'm going to randomize the land mass. I'm going to do a lot of randomizers. I'm going to randomize the land styles. I'm going to randomize the climate and the temperature. I'm going to randomize the age. I am going to use Chieftain. It is the easiest, but since this is very casual and I'm just basically doing this as a tutorial, well, maybe not even a tutorial, because to be honest, I'm not that good at it. I'm okay, but I mean, I can beat it easily on Warlord. Deity, I found not Crusader Kings too painful, but painful, and I'm not the best of game players, but I do try. But for this, it'll be Chieftain. I'll have a random number of civilizations, and I'll go roving bands because villagers only. It really is a bit of a cakewalk. But I'm not a big fan of having barbarian activity. But roving bands seems to be a decent level of incursions. And let's see what customized rules are. Simplified combat, flat world. Doesn't it say what that is? Select computer opponents. Not really interested in that. Don't really want accelerated startup. No spaceships allowed. No, I can do that next time. I'm going to be a male. I'm going to go for the English because why not? I'll be King Henry VIII or Shelf Unit I. Use an I instead of a 1 because Roman numerals and all. We'll have medieval castle. So Shelf Unit the First, you have risen to become leader of the English. May your reign be long and prosperous. The English have knowledge of irrigation, mining, and roads. These three things are fairly basic, and the actions that your settlers can take on the map. And the technologies that we have are alphabet, bronze working, and map making. Now this is pretty good. Alphabet's required for getting towards libraries and what have you, and bronze working allows you to produce the phalanx, which is the best defensive unit you can start off with. Otherwise I'd just be having warriors. And map making, which is slightly annoying, but it allows me to make boats straight away, even if they are crappy. Okay, your first task is to find a suitable site. Found your capital city. The best sites are near rivers, grasslands, coastal areas, or areas near special resources. So here, spot looks like a good site for a city. Build new city from the orders menu. Select build city from the orders menu, or use the B key to found a city here. So, game options. I'm going to autosave after each turn. I don't want the instant advice or tutorial help. Okay, so this is the basic first screen that you will see when you start the game. This is the map, this is the area that you can see. Where are we? Graphic options, cancel view, pieces, show map grid. Okay, so it's built on an isometric grid of squares. Now, if I were to build a city here, this would be the city's zone of control. And the city could use all of these squares. It wouldn't be able to use any others, and any cities that were built close to it would overlap, and the cities would compete for those. So it would be a first come first served basis on whoever got those squares. You would like to generally build your cities with as many of these things. There's like lots of things. This is a pheasant. There are whales and fish and gold and what have you. And the different terrain types are grassland, oceans and lakes, which basically are the same thing in terms of gameplay. Forests, and I believe this is swamp. Might even be jungle, but I think it's swamp. And they all have different what's the word? Benefits and bonuses. So the grassland with shield, which you might be able to see we have lots of here. You click on that and we have information. It will provide the city with 2 food, 1 shield, and 0 trade. Now, when you build a city, you have to feed it, and it will then grow in size, and the shields are used to produce things in the city, and the trade dictates some other things that I will go into nearer the time. I think since we've only got the 1 settler, we need to start off as soon as we can. I think this is a decent place. We're not near the coast, but we can get our second city near the coast, so I'm going to press B, and we are going to call it London, because why not? London founded 4000 BC, and this is the city screen. So, as we have, I'll just take out the map grid. Okay, I'll do that afterwards. So this is the city screen. This is our number of people. This is our city map. As I said, it covers that same grid here, and here is the resource map. So as I was saying, every terrain square gives you a set number of things. So there's the food, here is the resources, the blue shields, and trade is this 2 little arrows. Now, food feeds the people. Each person in the city, I believe, requires 2 food, and your city starts off collecting all the resources under its original founding square, and then for each person in the city you can get 1 additional area. You can change by clicking off and then clicking, and that will tell you what each different thing gives you. So that would give me 2 food there, but here is where the bonus things are. So I get 2 food and 2 production from having this pheasant. There's no other area at the minute in the city that would give me more, I don't believe. Yeah. So I have 2 food and shield for being on this square. But I get 2 food and 2 shields, which allows me to produce more things. When you have a city, the square under the city has the maximum, already comes with the maximum number of improvements on that square that your current technology allows. So this city, I can, for my settlers that I had, they can do mining, they can do building roads, and they can do irrigation. So the home city always has those 3 things attached to it, and any bonuses from those will appear here. Here the road, extra road that would be counted on, has given me an extra trade, or 1 trade rather. And that 1 trade has been divided down into science, luxuries and tax. And the amount of trade you get is divided by percentage into these things, or as close to as it can get. So that 1 trade counts now as 1 science. Science is good for, or is required for learning technologies, which we will do after this, because you can only start learning a technology after you have built a city. So here I have a surplus of food, and that surplus will go into my food storage, and once this box is filled up with these sized things, so that would be just lots of 2. Once the box fills up the next turn, once the box is filled, box empties, and I get an extra little person here, and that person again will go and either get more food or what have you. This is an automatic thing. You have to check these because sometimes the game will not put you on what you want or the best possible. In this case it has. Here is what your city is producing. You can change that, and at the minute we don't have a great deal of things. We can either have settlers, warriors, phalanx, barracks, and 2 wonders of the world. This is a city improvement, the barracks, and these are units, and it always breaks down into that level. So you have your units, your city improvements, and wonders of the world. Every city can have 1 each of an improvement, but there can only be 1 wonder of the world per game, effectively. Or there is only 1 wonder of the world of its type, and only 1 city and civilization can possess it. The lighthouse effectively allows your ships to move further, and the colossus gives you more trade in any square that already has a trade. You can look at no, we can't look at it. I'll go phalanx for now because that's a defensive unit. This is attack, defense, movement, ADM, and the defense of 2 is extremely good. And at this game level, I believe you have a benefit in both attack and defense, which isn't shown in numbers but is part of the computer's equations when it does battles. The settlers I can build, but there's no real point at the minute because I've only got 1 person, and you can't build a settler in a city with only 1 person, I don't believe. So I'm going to build some defense. I have the option to quick buy it, but that costs a lot of gold. I've only got 50. Right now it costs 120, so I can't do it. And I have my city improvement, which is my palace. We have city information, which is this screen. City map, which is just, well, support map. This is the map of everywhere in the world. I can rename the city. I can check how many people are happy. In this game, at this difficulty level, you can have, I think it's 7 or 8 people in the city before the number of the population starts becoming unhappy due to the fact that it's just growing. In higher difficulty games, that number decreases, so that you have to build units or city improvements to keep people happy. Units that you have in the city, I double up. Having the unit that's defensive also keeps the people happy. Somehow it's good there, and then you get a little viewing of your town, which is a bit rubbish, but with a very nice palace, which is ridiculous. Okay, and then we can exit. And here is our, what discovery shall we pursue? We can get lots of different things. Writing's a decent one at this time. Masonry is good. Pottery will give us a granary, but I think masonry will give us the ability to build pyramids, which is something I really like. So I'm going to go masonry. I'm going to turn off the map grid. You can also check the terrain by no, you can't. Yeah, double clicking when you've not got a unit selected on the thing on the map gives you the terrain. So this is a forest, so it costs twice as much to move through a forest as it does plains, but you get a 50% defense bonus on there. Gives you food, shields, and trade. If you irrigate a forest, it becomes plains. It takes 5 turns to irrigate, apparently. Nothing happens when you mine. And when you transform it with an engineer, which is a later technology, it becomes grassland. Effective roads. Roads will reduce the amount of movement required to traverse a piece of terrain. So a normal plain or grassland will take 1, and if you have a road, it'll take 1/3, and it doesn't matter what terrain the road is over, it will always take 1/3. And the possible resources you can find on there are pheasants and silk. We've got a pheasant on this one, so let's have a look. Pheasant will give you 3 food and 2 shields, but no trade. It increases the amount of food produced in forest from 1 to 3. No increase in shields. So here is where time consuming part consists of, and we are just going to basically wait it out until we have our first defensive unit. Shouldn't take too long. We can click on the city and we'll find out where it takes us to. Costs 3 turns. We've got 3, 6, 7, 8 resources left, and we have 3 per turn production. So if we purchase it now, it would save us 3 turns, and we would not lose the additional shield that we generate, because any shields that are left over are lost. We've got another 3 turns before our city grows, and I think that's going to be 19 gold well spent. And next turn we will have there our first unit, a phalanx. Now, when you've got a unit inside the city, it gets a little flag to show that it's defended. And we can go in there and we can change, and I want to build, I think, a warrior unit to go exploring. I'm going to fortify this guy in here by pressing F, which is the hotkey for fortify. And what that does, it shows that he's fortified, and it will give him a 50% bonus on defense, which at 2 would make his defense 3, and at the minute there are no enemy units in the game that can possibly cause him any problems. Okay, so another couple of turns and we have another unit. I'm going to change here and I'm going to build a unit of settlers. Unfortunately, I'm supporting this guy, so I need to use him quickly. Diagonally exploring increases the number of black tiles you uncover the quickest, but I'm going to go up straight away. Oh, and we've discovered masonry. So this will allow me to build city walls, the Great Wall, a palace if I lose mine, and the pyramids. I'll read the description. Early dwellings of most tribal cultures were built with materials that were readily available and easy to work with, such as bricks of clay and mud. As tribes gave up their nomadic ways and settled the first cities, they soon found that they had a need for more permanent and durable structures. The skill of masonry was developed to fill this need. The earliest stone structures consisted of little more than rocks, which were stacked atop of one another to form crude walls. Artisans soon began to square off the rocks, forming them into regular shapes and stacking them. These early examples of masonry used no mortar. The weight of the stacked stones provided overall strength and stability. Without the use of mortar and knowledge of architectural techniques, masonry was used primarily for simple structures such as fortifications. However, some examples of early masonry are quite spectacular, including the Great Pyramids of Egypt, which are still standing after thousands of years. Okay, so we now get to choose a new one. The beaker here is a quick indicator of how close we are to getting a new technology. The beaker fills up and changes colour, and red means you are the closest to discovering a new technology. So, what do we want now? I want to get monarchy. So I'm thinking a code of laws would be good. So we're just uncovering more of the map. Oh, there's a whale. Oh, goodness, a city here would have been good. Balls. Still, we can try. Are we on an island? So every so often you get a little pop-up. So St. Augustine completes his epic history of the most advanced civilizations in the world. So there are 7 civilizations in total, and we are second. So we've got the Sioux, the English, the Aztecs, the Germans, Japanese, the Russians, and the Chinese. So we are second in that, which isn't great, frankly. We look like, oh goodness, and we've got settlers. I'll change that and start on the pyramids. It's going to take a while. So I'm going to build too close to my city. We keep uncovering, and I'm going to build my new city up here, York. The minute it doesn't have any crossing over little white squares that you would see, but this city is too good to pass up with having the 2 bonuses in it, and it's got the whale, which is really good for bonuses. So we're going to do the same, follow the same path as London did. We're going to build our a defensive unit first, and then we are going to build a cellar. Now London, as you'll notice, lost the settler there, so that now means that I have lost the support, which was food and a shield. And because I've got an extra person, the second unit doesn't require any support now either. And I'm producing 4 bonus tiles now. Can I produce? I can either grow or produce. So yeah, this is the trade-off. You either get your 2 food and 1 shield, which grows your city quicker, or 1 food and 2 shields, which builds your things quicker. But with the more people, I can put more of these out. So you've got a maximum of 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 19, 20 people that can provide gathering of resources here. Also, with having a second city, I get extra science and tax, and because I've got more trade here, that trade is divided down into science and tax because it's 40% and 60%. We'll get into government types later, but I shall continue to explore for a little while. Discover the secret of the Code of Laws. I'll read this one as well. Earliest tribal civilizations were bonded together by mutual needs and beliefs. These groups were ruled by a tribal chieftain who acted as an advisor and enforcer of the will of the gods. No formal laws existed in these early cultures, but fear of the gods and a sense of tribal customs and morality kept order in the tribe. As societies became larger and more diverse, the need arose for established rules of conduct. The earliest known code of laws existed in Babylon, India, and Palestine. 12 Tables of Rome, written in 500 BC, and its successors, such as the Justinian Code, were the first codes of law to distinguish between public law, which involved the state, and private law, which concerns disputes between citizens. Roman law was the first formalised written system of laws and went on to influence many of the legal systems of the modern world. And we shall get, because as I noticed, we needed ceremonial burial to get monarchy. So I will get ceremonial burial now. Okay. Let's carry on exploring. There's a whale there. We're going to be stuck on an island. Okay, York got that. And I'm going to build another settlers unit there. And fortify York up. Mainly I'm fortifying just in case we get any barbarian raiders. I'm a little concerned that we are on... Oh, we've discovered ceremonial burial already. So this allows us to get temple. Groping for an explanation of the world around them, the earliest humans developed the first concepts of religion. Gradually, rites of worship grew to include sacrifices, ceremonies, vigils, symbology, sacred items, and prayer. One significant step in the advance of worship was the ceremonial burial, often a ritual preparation of the deceased's body for the afterlife his or her culture anticipated. The remains of ceremonial burials offer some of the most detailed information about past civilizations. And we are going to research monarchy, as I want that as my new government type. Okay, I think I've been muttering on long enough for this particular session, so I shall save the game and see you next time. Like I said, this will not be interfering with my Baldur's Gate series, simply because, or any other series that I do, simply because this is what I sometimes probably play when I'm not playing Baldur's Gate, and so it's literally just me recording all my non-normal Let's Play games. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please subscribe. If not, do not worry about it. Thank you again. Goodbye.